We are again, though.
I'm not doing it this week.
No.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Puzzle Factory.
You guys.
Yeah,
not me.
he's been here before.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll let you off this week.
How's
mate.
your week been, mate?
Pretty busy.
Yeah.
Things are rolling at the minute. It's really good, but yeah, there's shit coming in from bloody all angles at the minute.
Left, right, and centre. And it's an interesting one out there. Just talking to loads of members, loads of Sparkies and suppliers, and the industry is doing all kinds of weird things at the moment. So some people are booming, some are battling, some are somewhere in between, but interesting. There's no real sort of rhyme or reason at the moment.
Different things going on all over the show, and as we always do, we're just trying to help out as and where we're needed, and give these guys any step up we can. Right.
One thing that we are getting is a lot of feedback on the potty. Really stoked, and thanks everyone that's either written in or sent us a message or given us good support out there. It's definitely doing its thing. So in terms of content and suggestions and people wanting to be a part of it, really positive and really encouraging.
Well, let's be honest. We really appreciate it, because if no bugger was paying any attention to this or enjoying it, we probably wouldn't be able to keep doing it.
No, but that's the bottom line. It's touching a lot of people around the place, and it's not just targeted at Sparkies. We're getting, businesses, other business people that are trying to start their business, or it's just good stories.
So, and all the trades businesses, they run reasonably similar. They're facing the same issues. And we're talking about the industry as a whole. I tell you what hasn't been that busy for me this week.
Mm-hmm.
Podcast guests.
Yeah. I've had a few, let's say drop off. Yeah.
So I had a couple of people.
I mean, you're not that intimidating.
I know. But it must have been my height.
Something's going on.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're being discriminated
it's
against.
The height. They don't want to sit this close to me. It makes them nervous.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, no. In reality, we've had a couple of guests booked in this week, and for whatever reason, they've not been able to come. Mainly illness, to be honest, which is totally fair enough.
Fair call. Yep.
So yeah, I've got no bloody mates this week.
That's
so I'm
right.
going to treat them. I'm going to treat them to
Just Jack.
Yeah, just me. So we'll see how that goes.
Just Bobby this week.
Yeah.
But it's actually relevant, good timing. I think it's actually, and I think it's probably one of the first times in a series, I think, of sort of a specialist topic around things that are really relevant to all tradies, but obviously Sparkies specifically.
Totally. So I'm just going to do a short one, and some of this will be transferable into just quoting in general.
Yep.
But that's what I'm going to talk about, quoting.
Oh, good. Yep.
So something I get asked about more than anything else. I'm always trying to help people out, teaching them how to quote. And it's just how you approach it and the structure. The pricing's up to you.
Yeah.
But they just don't know where to start. Not everybody.
No.
There's certainly guys out there who know a hell of a lot more about it than me. So I'm just going to go through some practical tips that you can implement.
Yeah.
And just basically a step-by-step on how to approach these things.
Yeah, well, you've seen it from all angles, and it's bloody good. Obviously, we've got systems in place to support that. A lot of other companies out there don't have those systems in place.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. I mean, if you're not using Catapult, what are you doing?
You're mad. But again, different experience levels. You've found your feet doing it over a career of doing it, and fortunate to be in the sort of box seat to do it as a role within those companies that you've worked for, specifically around quoting and that as well. So looking forward to having a listen. I'll probably learn a lot of stuff of this as well, and it will certainly help a lot of the troops out there.
Beauty. All right.
Let's do it, brother.
I'll see me in a minute.
See you in a minute.
All right. Cheers,
well done.
mate. Right. We've all been there. It's 2:00 in the morning. You wake up and absolutely shit yourself because you've realized that you've missed something out of a quote, right? Or you've sent it, you've necked it up, whatever. What I'm getting at is one of the biggest questions I get over and over again is for help on quoting or guidance or how do I approach this or how do you do it, okay? So today, while we've got the opportunity, I just wanted to hit this subject head on, not talk a load of crap and woo-woo about it, but I'm just going to tell you how I approach it and try and get this across to you in the most concise and practical way I can without obviously boring the shit out of you, because it's just me. Like, I'm actually not very funny at all, particularly on my own. I just, I can sort of bounce off other people and take the piss sometimes. But yeah, you just got me today, so I'll try and make it as, excuse me, I'm a bit thirsty. This is lovely. Highly recommend. Anyway, that was a 7-Up Zero, by the way, for those who are just listening. So yeah, let's get into it. So, quoting. We're going to start with residential, or quoting a house. Okay, so when you're quoting a house, very rare that you'll get a set of electrical plans. I'm talking about new build here, just to clarify. You'll normally just get sent a crappy set of architecturals, and your builder or even the end user will just be like, oh, yeah, just make it function, whatever suits. Talking about a regular house there, if you're going high end, they'll obviously have some more idea. But the first thing you need to do when you're quoting a house is ask all the questions. Gather all the information you're going to need to put forward like a fully comprehensive quote that's going to meet the needs of the customer, right? So that comes down to asking questions. I've been tripped up with this before, so I always start with trying to get an idea of what the maximum demand's going to be. So, are you having underfloor heating? What kind of HVAC system are you having in there, or air conditioning? Are you going to have a pool with a hot water heat pump? Are you going to have an induction hob? All this kind of stuff, obviously the size of the house, right? Because if you can nail that down early, you can go, yep, 63 amp single phase is sweet, or now we're going to need polyphase or 3-phase or 100 amp 3-phase. As soon as we've figured that out, obviously it's going to help us with our price, but we can also get the customer to engage Vector early. So, you've not won the job, you're getting into it, and then you sort of mention Vector and they absolutely shit a brick because they're in for another 60 grand to get a power supply to the house. Once you've collated all this information with a resi quote, it should be reasonably straight sailing. So you've kind of nailed them down on the light fittings they want to use. You don't need to worry too much about feature lighting at the beginning. Are they putting LED strips in? Do they want sensors in the bathrooms? Are they having tread lights? Landscape lighting? You've figured out the aircon system. You've asked if they're having a security alarm, CCTV. What's the data setup? Are we just doing Wi-Fi? All these kind of things. You know the deal. You've sold them on a switchgear option, all this stuff. Once you have got that information, particularly if you're using Catapult, VisBuild, so you're just, pulling symbols and kit sets onto plans and that's building your price, you're away. You think about the layout, you do a practical one, you make sure that you've included everything that you need. You've maybe gone to the suppliers for the best pricing you can get on the best products that you can do for their budget. And don't be scared about asking for a budget either, because the more clarity you've got between you and the client, the better. So then it's pretty straight sailing. And the way you're going to lay out a house generally, for me, is pretty simple. You're going to have ground floor power, which is going to have your power plan on, probably your kitchen power, all that sort of stuff. This is where you're going to want to put all the miscellaneous costs, incoming mains and duct, Cat 6 and conduit for your incoming fiber, site visits, test and COC, inspection charges, all this sort of stuff. That's where I generally put it. Then you're going to have maybe first floor power. Okay, that's just going to be a power plan for the first floor. Easy as. Then you're going to move on to your lighting plan. Again, your power plan, just going back slightly, I would recommend that includes all your data and TV as well, if they're having that. Your switchboards on there, your data cabinets on there, blah, blah, blah. Once you get onto lighting, same thing again. Ground floor lighting, first floor lighting, maybe a landscape lighting. whatever they want. And then in this, you've just got to remember, are you putting heated tower rails on your power or your lighting? You've got all your extractor fans. Are you having LED strip in there? All the rest of it, all your sensors. Do you need trade seals for your outside lighting? Thinking about all this stuff. With a resi job, once you've got the information, presuming you've got some knowledge on quoting, which I'd hope, if not, get in touch and we'll hopefully get you started. From there, you're just going through the process. Just because it's a resi job, don't forget to put your inclusions and exclusions in, where you put in a clear picture of what you've allowed for in writing, so you can't come unstuck. We've all had that one where you've missed an inclusion or an exclusion, and it's cost you another 10 grand, so you've worked for free. So we don't want that. I guess the bulk of this is going to be more about the commercial and maybe tender stage of quoting electrical jobs. Some of this will be transferable to other trades and stuff, but I'm talking specifically electrical. So a lot of the times when I get questions, guys have kind of fumbled through, been taught or figured out how to quote a resi job, and they're getting through fine, they're back costing the jobs and they're making money. And then, inevitably at some point, they're going to get the chance to quote a commercial job. And this is where people tend to come unstuck if they've never worked in that space, because they're engineered electrical drawings from an electrical engineer, and you get a heap of documentation and information thrown at you. And I think it just scares the pants off people and they don't know where to start. So obviously, I don't talk about pricing or what you should charge with anybody. What I do talk about is how to structure it, the stages you're going to go through, and how to make it more manageable. So kind of the same. When you get an invitation to quote a commercial job or tender a commercial job, the first thing is the information. So you're going to look at what they've sent you, and does that tick all the boxes for you to give them a thorough, comprehensive quote? So first one is, have you got engineered electrical plans? Do you have an electrical specification? Do you have a fire report so you know if you put in fire rating requirements in there? Do you have an emergency lighting design report, PS1? All these are things that you need to think about. You're also probably going to want the mechanical plan pack with spec and the hydraulic one, because you're definitely going to be providing power supplies and stuff for them guys. And you got to sift through all this information to find out why or what you need to provide. Because otherwise you come on stock, it turns nasty, and then you and the client have a bad experience, which is not the aim of the game, obviously. Excuse me, I'm parched. Right. So once you've got all this information through, you're going to have a quick sift through it, see what's what, save it all to your files in a real clear and concise way so you can find everything. First thing you need to do then is all the bulk product that you're going to supply and get a specific quote for, from contracts pricing, whatever they call it, project pricing at your supplier. Hopefully you're using J. Russell's, the big red door. So you got to get this off for pricing as soon as possible, because a lot of these quotes or tenders will have a real quick turnaround. And the last thing you want is you've done all your bit and you're still waiting for product supply pricing. So first thing, you're going to get your plans. You're going to do takeoffs. So this is where you're counting each different type of light fitting. You're going to want to measure all your mains and sub-mains runs with a scale ruler off the plans. Ducting's worth measuring and getting a price on. Cable tray, well worth getting a price on, from contracts, because they're all bulk buy items that you'll probably get a pretty good discount on if you ask for it. So, and not to mention commercial jobs, normally a custom built switchboard. So you're going to want your distribution board schedule going off as well, with the spec as well and any schematics, so the manufacturer can see what the pricing to build. So get all that gone. As soon as that's gone, you may have to ring them every day just to remind them that you're in a rush, but I wouldn't. Just give them a deadline, send it off. Generally make the deadline you want the pricing back a few days before you need to have it out, so you've got time to check it and input it and everything. That bit's done. Right. So we've done information, and then we've done contracts pricing for your product. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to structure our quote. The way we're going to do that is the first thing you've got to do is go and have a look in the electrical specification. Your best friend in the spec is Control F on a PDF, and then you can search keywords in it. All right. So you might be searching, you might have a look through it, and you might be searching. What am I trying to think of here? Scope. So scope of works will give you a good indication of how they want laying things out. Or you might have a schedule of quantities in there where the QS is asking you to break the price down in a really specific way. If you've got that information, then try and work to that as best you can, because that's how they're expecting to receive it, and you'll get brownie points with them. Feel free to give them a ring and ask as well. If not, which is oftentimes the case, or they've not specified, the way I like to structure a quote is almost like a tree. So you're going to start at the roots, which is essentially the power supply on the road, and you're going to work out to the leaves, which are the lights, power points, switches, whatever, right? So for me, if I've got my choice on structure, I'm going to be doing basically incoming services. Then I'm going to be doing main switchboard and distribution boards. Then I'll be doing submains, data runs, fiber backbone, all that sort of stuff. Then from there, let's just say for argument's sake, it's an apartment building. I'm probably going to go work from the bottom up again. So I'm going to be going basement car park power, level 1 community power, level 2 community power, level 3 community power, whatever it is. Same with lighting, basement car park lighting, level 1 lighting, etc. And then you're going to do the same with the apartments. So with the apartments, they're normally in types. So A to E or 1 to 10 or whatever. So, apartment type 1, price it, lighting and power. There's 10 of them. Done. Apartment type 2, bang. And this is how you're going to work through it in a structure, and then it's really clear for everyone involved, and you can almost follow it through chronologically as the job goes. Right, and then just the spec. This is what kind of scares the shit out of people, because you've got, 120-page specification, and we can kind of see that a lot of it's just copy and paste, but you don't know, you kind of have to adhere to this to the letter. And the way to do it is I've got like a whole library of keywords that I search, which are basically all things that I've been tripped up on in the past and missed. So, for example, you'll be searching, you can find out what switchgear's spec'd in there generally, how many cables they're allowing on a catenary on that job, what are they expecting for seismic rating. You might search lighting controls in there, and they'll go, oh, you need to contact Intelligent Environments or one of these other guys. They're going to supply the gear and do the programming for the BMS or the lighting control. Search seismic rating, search fire rating, search PC sum. A lot of the time it'll say in there, you must allow $2,000 for the electrical engineer to come and inspect your work. You miss it out, they go, I don't give a fuck, you're still paying for it. And then you're in a shit sandwich, What else? You got to look heavily into hydraulic services and mechanical services, because you're going to be doing some work for them. You know what I mean? Is the data fiber part of the main contract, or is that a separate plan with a separate spec? Am I quoting it? Am I not? What, search security, search access control. What systems do they want? What guidelines are there around it? So you'll kind of find your way with this, but Control F is your best mate, either on a plan pack or in the spec, because alongside the spec, you're also having to read every note on every plan as well. In general, is a pretty good idea, because you'll find stuff in there and it's just randomly there and it's nowhere else, because for some reason they'd like to make this as difficult as humanly possible for us. So, just trying to clear that up. Right. Another process that you'll go through with commercial tenders generally, most of these medium to bigger size projects will go out for tender like 2 or 3 times. So they put out a work in progress design, and then you're almost playing this game with them where you're trying to build a price and you send in RFIs and requests for information, right? And they respond to you with NTTs, notice to tenderers, answers, basically. And this is the game that you're playing to get information. Anyway, then first round of pricing, you'll normally put it in and they'll go, oh, it's all too expensive, and then they'll come out for it again and they want alternative light fittings, etc. Anyway, they can basically want cost savings, right? So you might go through this 2 or 3 times. But again, the guts of quoting comes down to collating all the information. Obviously, you've then got to input it correctly, which is on you. But it's the collection of all this information, and don't just go, oh, I don't know, bugger it. It's good to keep that, because part of the sales side of this as well is opening those conversations, getting your head right in the job, and kind of building a relationship with the QSs, which is easier said than done, because they're normally wet wipes. Sorry if there are any QSs listening. Just my experience. Normally a dry lunch. Yeah. Anyway, let's say you've got all your information, you've put all your price together. So we've now collated information. We've sent off for all our pricing from the wholesalers. We've structured the quote. We've put all our plans in and everything. We've actually populated the quote using all the information that we've got and going through the spec and everything. We're pretty happy on the price. We're kind of there. This is a huge one. Inclusions and exclusions, or tags. This is our opportunity to, in writing, normally in bullet points, you are going to outline exactly what you've allowed for and exactly what you've not. And this is, you making it safe for yourself. So that, and you're just providing clarity. But if they ever come and go, you should have allowed for that, and you go, well, I've actually excluded it there, you're pretty safe, okay? So one tip I would give you with inclusions and exclusions is try and be a lot more inclusion heavy than exclusion heavy. So, there's kind of tricks to this. So it's turning negatives into positives. So instead of saying we have not allowed to supply and install extract fans, would go, allowances have been made for a power supply only for extraction fans. And then you're flipping it on its head. Okay, so just a tip. I think it comes across a bit more favorably with QSs, and you can take this as far as you want. You can tell them how many PowerPoints you've allowed in the whole building, you can put specific, things you'd tag as no trenching and backfilling, because you're not going to be digging your own trenches, We've not allowed for cutting concrete. All these kind of things, all right? And then you'll probably have some really specific ones per job. And a lot of the time, some of the exclusions will be stuff where you just don't have the information on it yet, but you still want to tag it out just in case. Cover yourself. All right. Again, on the more salesy relationship side of things, you've done all your quote, you've checked it, sleep on it before you send it, check it over again the next day, and then send it off. Give it a few days and follow it up. Ring the QS. Have you received my price? How's it looking? Oh, I've not looked at it yet. Okay, do you mind if I give you a call back next week? Yep, no problem. Give them a call back next week. How are we looking? Did my numbers fit your numbers? Can I offer you any cost savings or alternative products anywhere? Start trying to work with them. Build that trust with them that you're on their team, you know? And just, yeah, you know, don't send it off and then just forget about it. So, look, I'll probably do some more of these down the lines on just different areas of the kind of stuff we do every day, just if I can help clear it up at all. But yeah, if you have been listening to this just on a personal level, I really appreciate it. I kind of just decided to do this because I thought it was a really good thing for us to do, and I thought it might help people and entertain you while you're on the tools and stuff. But if you want to hear any other stuff, if you've got feedback on what we've done, or you just like it, leave us a comment, give us a like, give us a follow, and it just means we can keep doing this. We'll probably be able to keep. Well, I hope we'll be getting better at it and stuff. But yeah, let me know. Keep in touch. Thanks for listening. And yeah, I think all that remains to be said is stay safe out there. Keep puzzling, and we'll see you next week for another go.